All right, hello. Get my gloves ready before I do my greetings. But hello and welcome. This is a painting day. And here's something that's amusing is that this painting started at night and I waited a couple days, let the paint dry, which it is dried, or maybe it might still be a little wet, but I've waited for it to dry up a little bit before I start painting again because I don't want to paint over something totally wet. So I think now's a good time to start again. But here's the catch is I started painting this at night and now it's the day. And I need to make some decisions as to what I'm going to keep and what's going to not be here anymore. Or how this light is going to be. And I think this is a classic case of doing the plein air thing, the impressionist philosophy of painting things and painting things as they go, or whether you want to do the traditional painting of a scene based on what you have in a studio. So classic case of all that. Let me open this window here so we can get some air. Let's see.
Hey, stop.
Wow, the debt is
Look at that.
billion, trillion, 35 trillion. All right.
Who cares? Everybody's in debt.
Here we go.
You borrow that money from.
We're streaming, by the way, Kat.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Just letting you know. Let's go. The funny thing about streaming on TikTok is that you can't get away with being a quiet streamer. You have to like talk nonstop. But unfortunately, I'm not streaming on TikTok, so maybe we're gonna mess around. We're gonna go with a bigger brush and just push some of these bigger brush colors. I'm trying to find a good medium in between this color as well as what we've got going on here.
Coffee?
No, I did not.
I made him coffee, everybody. It's delicious.
Yes, and I haven't drank it yet.
And he didn't even get his coffee. I would pour it for him, but it would just sit there then. It'd get cold.
Cold. So cold. Cold coffee. Oh yeah, we have oat milk. Perfect. Perfecto.
Yes. I would like to spend less than I make.
Warm coffee is the best coffee. Wow. Oh, we got a donation from contribution from Cool Coop.
Cool.
Cool Coop. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate you, Coop. What brings you here today? Happy Monday. This is a painting that I started the other day. And, so shout out to Cool Coop. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Your tips and your contributions go a long way in not just the financial element, right? Like, the financial element is great. It's appreciated. It's this idea that, Cool Coop, I'm guessing that you probably have a YouTube channel too, maybe. It's this idea that like, hey, we care enough about your content that we're gonna contribute to your funds. So keep going, dude. It's like a motivational pep. So I appreciate that. It's one of the one of the most valuable experiences I had was anytime I was able to find like someone who just for whatever reason just really likes your work, and it just feels really good. So definitely to show your extra appreciation with a nice little channel or nice big channel tip. um, we're gonna call this a big one. A nice big channel tip is very wonderful. So thank you.
So, when's our trip? On the 3rd of December? I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna start painting,
I'm gonna house sit.
and let's see how should we get into this? All right,
Yes, I'm gonna house sit up
so
until the
let's
1st.
I'm gonna grab some of this. Some of this paint's been dried already. We're gonna pull in color here. We're gonna go with the yellow. I usually like to mix this with a lighten it. Actually, I should probably lay down some more colors on my palette real quick before I get into this. So first off, need more of this yellow. So we're gonna throw down some more of this yellow. Actually, no, I got a big chunk of yellow there. I got this blue. I got that. I need white.
That should be cool.
Yeah, that's good. That should be good. Okay, so here we go. Where's our white? I'm gonna grab some white here. Where's my white? That's gambling white. I'm gonna use this white. I just need, whenever I get the color white, I really just need like a nice mixing white. Something that's not overly expensive. And it's usually just for like mixing into colors. And we're gonna mix this around with this brown here, brown and sienna. And this is just, I just want this like nice, lighter, warmish white. Warm off white.
This is brown stuff.
What brown stuff?
On the controller.
Well, when you use it.
No. It's got dimension to it.
No, you gotta like wipe it off all the time. You gotta clean it off.
What is that? It looks like.
Just like hand stuff, like sweat. It's normal.
It is?
Yeah, I just haven't cleaned it off recently. It's not Cheetos.
Hi, Scout. That's my cutie. Oh, cutie.
All right, so this paint totally is dry.
What?
So this gives us an opportunity to lay down a nice layer here. Nice wetter layer.
Very cute. Oh.
And ATSF, what's going on, ATSF? How are you? And I'm painting this with a much bigger brush on this part right here. And just aiming for the living room. Throw in a bit more brown here. Should probably grab a purple, but you know what? Let's just bring this in real quick. Bring this brown down. So that's one thing, if you're painting in perspective, one thing that's really easy to know if you're looking to understand perspective drawing or anything, is anything in perspective, if it's vertical, if it's going down, it's pretty much a straight line, right? If it's like a perfectly vertical building, obviously if it's got shape to it or roundness, then it might not be directly down, but oh, Scout knows we're painting, so I might have to throw him into this. He's like, this man's painting, I need to be in it. It's time.
Yes,
He likes
center of attention.
to be the center of attention, this kitten. So you can't see it, but there's a kitten on the other side over here who's sitting right here. Here to look at it. Oh no, he's not there anymore. He heard his name. Oh, I think he hears you in the kitchen.
Oh.
And he's like, "What's going on? Is it
Here's
food?"
her eating. Yes, get out of there. Jeez. This pig. Such a little quirky pig.
And my goal is to just keep this like a fairly loose painting. I'm not, looking to make it super hyper realist or anything, but just come up with like a nice fun painting, nice fun design, and that's the goal. So some people would probably be much more tighter with this in the sense of the sketch would be incredibly precise and exact, and they would have all the things like laid out and drawn and sketched out, and that's a lot of like spend more time in the pre-planning to make everything much easier in the post or the actual painting phase. I don't do that much planning because I prefer to have it more fluid, and I also, as you could tell with this painting, you could tell because this window is bright right now, it's light outside, but usually when I paint in plein air, like things are always changing. The light changes, the shadows totally change by the time you're working on your next building or whatever. So there's always things changing, which means you have to be on your toes when you're painting outdoors and in plein air. And you have to be comfortable with change. You have to be totally comfortable with the idea that something doesn't look the same way that it did 10, 15, 30 minutes ago. And I think that, has helped me to become a more dynamic artist.
Hello?
Dynamic.
Hello?
So here we go. We're gonna go bring this down. These are some just a shade, like a window shade. So I'm just bringing this down to add some color to these blinds and stuff. So just going down. And here we go. I'm going to blend this into this one as well because it's pretty much the same color. I'm going to paint it a little bit slightly different, but it's pretty much the same section. This is my painting within a painting. This is my painting within this painting.
Getting older, yeah. I'm getting sicker. Pain. I went to a party
And here we go.
like I was a teenager, and now I can barely move. I know, but I had fun doing it.
And we're gonna keep this going.
Well, it's a once in a while thing. It's a friend's birthday, and it was also Halloween. Her Halloween party. So yeah, it was fun. Yeah. Did Michelle contact you? Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So what's the status?
So I might have to paint over this section to add this lamp in here. But
Oh,
I think
okay.
this is the main shadow. So we're gonna be done with this color. Maybe throw in a little bit up here. Just gonna throw in, add a couple of streak of shadow here, just for fun. And it's time to add some more light areas. So let's go ahead, wipe this brush off, dip it in our mineral spirit,
Well, not the whole thing.
and here we go.
But
So wiping it off, wipe off. Cleaning the brush.
oh yeah.
Cleaning the brush. Making sure you're working with a nice clean brush is pretty important. Let's get this couch area totally different color now. I'm gonna go with
Yeah, that
me grab,
That's only temporary.
I need like a warm red. So I need to grab this, and I'm going to put this into our sienna. And I think,
Yeah. That's what a lot of people do.
this is.
I lived in a house.
I've told myself that I want to paint things not the exact same color that I'm seeing.
Place I live in California.
That's like a goal that I'm working on. So instead of trying to mix color, I'm going to go with something a little different. And I'm going to make this a yellow. Or make these couch cushions yellow. And almost it matches, unfortunately. Because it's not really my goal of going with something a little different. But it's okay. I mean, it matches a little bit. It's not totally accurate, but it's different enough and interesting enough. I think this color is going to add to the overall design. So it's funny because when I originally painted these pillows that I have here, like you could see one right here, there were no pillows. There's one pillow on there. So now I have to decide whether I'm going to include those pillows or just go with what I've got right here. And I'm pretty much thinking I'm just going to go with what I've already sketched out here. So I'm not really going to go and get to, paint every new detail. I will explore with colors, the new details as far as color goes, but I'm not necessarily going to change up. I'm not necessarily going to change up where was I going with this? What was I trying to say? I'm not necessarily going to change up the objects. I'll change up the colors and the design, but I'm not going to change up the objects. That's what I wanted to say.
But yeah, I talked to the lady you recommended. I talked to her.
Using this bigger brush, I'm going to brush in some pinks. Because why not? Brush in some red.
Okay. Well, good. All right, well, I'll be talking to her soon, but right now it's not the best time.
And
okay, well,
here we go. I'm gonna go with this, bring this in. Bring in some of this color.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Bennett. Go catch some fish. Thank you, you too. Bye.
And bring this in. And I was looking at a Mark Chagall painting the other day, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty amazing painting. And he didn't try too hard to make it realist. So what we're going for here is something a little different.
I need food anywhere.
So here we go. I'm gonna go blend in some of these pinks a little better. And this isn't necessarily like a how to paint channel. Like, this isn't like, hey, this is how you should paint, or this is how you do that. Like paint a living room. I mean, the process is pretty simple. You sketch it out to the level that you want, and then you basically, depending on how accurate you want to, and then you mix the colors as you want, and then you decide from there how you want to make your art. So here we go. So originally what I did was I just had a base layer of color. I wanted like an underpainting, or basically an undercolor, I should call it. It's not even really like an underpainting, because an underpainting, you spend a lot of time to sketch out a lot of the details. But this is more just an undercolor. I separate the difference, even though there might not be. And I'm painting into these frames right now with just like a base pink. I'll paint over it at some point.
Hey! Get out of there! Why do you want to drink toilet water? You're gross. Look, it's a whole fresh pool of water.
And here we go. Let's grab some of this
This
white here, and we're gonna go around in here. Got these three like paintings hanging in our living room. And we're gonna just go over these.
Kitten
Yeah.
drinking out of the toilet.
Yuck. It tastes funny, that's why. Like, what flavor is this? What is this flavor? Let's grab some yellow here. I'm just gonna grab this yellow. We're gonna paint across this room here. Paint across this room. There we go.
Sometime later today,
Uh-huh.
I want you to do this acupressure stuff to my back
Okay.
at the nail tech show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Nail Tech. Well, I love that. I love the colors.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. So I'm painting over this shadow. What was once a shadow, I don't think needs to be here no more. So we're gonna paint over it. We're just gonna go over it. Hopefully, by the time I'm like through a majority of this piece, I'm not like, you know, it's not like already dark again, and then I have to change the shadows again. But I do like having to constantly adjust and transform these colors because I think it helps to add a little bit of spontaneity, a little bit of variety. You know, the chance. It allows for chance. I was looking at this this piece by Marcel Duchamp, and if you don't know who Marcel Duchamp is, he basically invented what's called ready-made art. Ready-made art is basically anything that you can have in your apartment, like a coffee mug.
Didn't you do urinal?
Yeah, urinal, right? Exactly. So
No.
Made me lose my train of thought. What was it? Oh yeah. So a ready-made is basically anything that you can just be sitting around. A car, this coffee mug, a cell phone, a TV, anything that you probably already have in your home, and you can basically, if you're an artist, right? I mean, you can technically do it if you're not an artist, but obviously, if you can get a gallery to support your effort, you can just take it and hey, just organize it in a way and then call it art. So that is what a ready-made is. So he basically pioneered that by turning a urinal upside down, calling it the fountain, and from there he became known as one of the greatest artists of our time. And he was alive during, like, I don't know, the 1990s. Alexa, Alexa, when did Marcel? Alexa, when did Marcel?
I'm not sure how to help you with that.
Alexa, when did Marcel Duchamp die?
Marcel Duchamp died on October 2nd, 1968, at the age of 81 years.
Oh wow! For whatever reason, I thought he died in the 90s, but totally wrong there. But you get the idea. So anyway, let's go with a little bit of white here. We're gonna add some light here and some light coming through the window. We're gonna pop that into here. A lot of white. And then let's go with a little bit of blue around the edge here.
Like sitting on my jacket?
And I put a little circle here because I'm gonna mess around with some of the elements here. But for now, I just want to get the majority of this base color going.
Yeah.
All right, let's free up our hand a little bit. I'm a little too tight. Like, you know, when I know I'm doing something wrong when I'm painting this close with a big paintbrush.
Get out of here.
You know, you really don't want to be painting like you're holding a pencil. For this, sometimes you do, like obviously for super fine detail, but I feel like if you're doing it for this type of work right now, that I'm just like, you know, it kind of loses the spontaneity, the fluidity. And you know, there's no right way or wrong way. The only wrong way is the way that you think is wrong, and the only right way is the way that you think is right. So We're just brushing this
Hey,
in, and
down to the floor.
you know what? Some of the colors from my brush are coming off. Some of the reds, even though I didn't. That's not what I meant to do. So, but I like it. I like how it's adding this color variation to the ceiling here, and yeah, it's adding a lot of color variation, adding some variety that I probably wouldn't have gotten. Oh yeah, so back to Marcel Duchamp. I was reading looking at a Instagram post, and it was talking about how he basically did this piece of glass, and along the way in transit, it shattered. And he's like, yo, I love that. I love that it shattered because it includes some of the things that happened by chance in the painting. And yeah, I think that adds to character in artwork. I mean, it's really hard to predict that someone would mishandle artwork, and maybe he planned it, right? Maybe he planned that it would be easy to shatter. I don't know. I feel like he would do something like that and then say that it was on accident. But you know, the story, according to legend, that's what happened, and it's in art galleries now. So here we go. I am allowing Chance to help me create this painting, and as we continue here, I see that this needs to match because this is the roof area. We're gonna go into here. Let's go into here and blend in some of this space here. Blend down. I'm gonna grab some yellow and you know maybe even some of this green here. Nope, that didn't come off. And who's coughing into my camera?
Me.
No, we're gonna go with some of this green here. I'm gonna go with some of this green. Grab some of this green yellow.
Crumbs?
Bring this down. How do we get this exciting color variation into our space? So the other day I really just wanted to get like a base layer of color, and really all that really helps to do, I mean it's not like mandatory, but it does help you to create like a base foundation from which to paint from. And also depending on the style, if you're going for like, you know, super there's many things that can happen from it. Like I've seen some great artists who allow it to totally appear through, and you know they have that base layer and they purposely leave some sections open and unpainted so that it can come through. And then some artists that totally paint over it, and you know they use like little glazes and things. They use little glazes and things to add a color over it just to highlight the color underneath. So what I'm doing right now is just brushing in paint. What I'm doing right now is just brushing in. I'm so distracted by all the sounds. All the coughs. There's this funny character on Mad TV. I don't know if anyone watches Mad TV, but she would basically people would try to talk to her, so and she just cough and interrupt them. Every time someone would try to say something, she'd be It's the most hilarious character. She's so funny. Anyway, so anytime you want to try to say something, I love Matt TV. I got to meet somebody from Matt TV. I don't remember her name, but amazing character. By the way, if you're what's going on? If you're watching on YouTube and like I start talking about something and I go off track, there's a high chance that I'll forget what I was even talking about because I'm trying to paint. So if it's like if I'm like going off track and you want to hear about an idea that I've kind of like stopped talking about, that I was talking about, just let me know. Or you know if captures your attention. You know, most of the stuff I talk about is look upable, like Marcel Duchamp and his glass myth story. It's totally researchable. Let me bring in a sienna and an ochre. Estrada, what's going on? How's your new iPad going for you? Are you loving every bit of your new iPad? I hope you are. Every bit of the new iPad. So I just got this burnt sienna. Well, actually, burnt sienna. So, see, how am I going to use this color? I love the burnt sienna color. And let's go. You know what? I should add more color into these walls first before I get too far into the burnt sienna color. So let's do that. Let's add some more color into these walls. And go with a little bit of red, pink, yellow. I'm just gonna go into here, and then we're gonna go boom, 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 right here. There we go. It's nice and bright out today, so there'll be a ton of, there's plenty of light here. There's no shortage of light. Gonna add that in. And Estrada says your iPad. Oh, is that not you? Didn't you say you got like a new you said you got an iPad. And you were gonna do stuff in Procreate. Oh well. Yeah, it could be Danny, who's not here right now. I'm sure you know Danny from who's been here lately. So here we go. So going with this like free flow of color. Like I'm still looking at my my space here, but I feel like at this point I'm really just going for capturing color variety in this painting. Just allowing some of the colors to just glow. Grab some more of this yellow. Oh, okay. All right. Well, either way, Estrada. I don't think I've seen new artwork from you pop up on my Instagram though. Did you? How's that going? What else is new? Any Halloween parties for you coming up? You have a costume? Got a Halloween costume? And then here we go. So capturing the light. I still want this to look like a lamp. And we'll do one in the back here. So I'm just using a nice big brush. And what that does is really keeps you like on your toes, and you don't get too lost in like details that could potentially be a hindrance sometimes, you know, if you get so caught up in like small details, it can get overwhelming as far as painting, especially if you're painting like this. And what I mean by that, painting like this specifically, is that I don't have everything perfectly sketched out and laid out for me, right? All of this was done more spontaneously, like on the spot, just sketching in loosely rather than sketching in very specifically. And I'm gonna add some blue right here. Why not go for some blue? Let's go. So sketching in loosely versus sketching in very specifically. And you know, you can do either way. Like, I think it comes down to your artist personality, right? Like, if you're the type of artist that feels as if you must have a certain level of certainty of what you're going to paint, exactly when, where, and like what colors you're going to use and everything. If you need that, then you're probably going to paint something a bit more, probably going to spend more time sketching. But if your personality is like more spontaneous, more intuitive, more expressive, or, you know, depending on the artists who inspire you and your personal habits and interests, and, you know, maybe you were a perfectionist for 50 years, 20 years, 30 years, I don't know, however long artists go for. But maybe you're a perfectionist for all those years, and then suddenly you're like, screw perfectionism. Let me, you know, try it this way. And then you experiment with new ways. And then greatness comes, right? So, anyway, Strada. Pocket letters, which is ATC. Artist trading cards, you could do any theme, mixed media style. Oh, okay, cool. I have to take a look. Never heard of that. Is that like something you do at like a Taylor Swift concert?
Talking to me?
Oh no, I'm talking to Estrada. They're 2.5 by 3.5. You do 9 cards and place them in a card protector, and you trade. Oh, that's so cool. That is a clever idea. So instead of trading like full-on paintings, I think you could do it as a Swifty thing though, right? You would trade Swifty cards. That would be a cool idea. I'm sure that will catch on one day. So here we go. Adding this blue. Adding this blue in. Oh yes, but speaking of like perfectionism versus like, you know, I like to talk more about personal art philosophy rather than specific activities. My personality does not lend to a perfectionist style. You know, like my personality does not go, hey, I need this to be so right that I'm going to use like a hologram projector, and I'm going to, you know, sketch out every detail in perfect, plan out all the paint colors ahead of time, and then, you know, that's not really my personality. I just love the way paintings look when they're just like, oh, this looks like it happened by accident. This looks like, you know, it wasn't overly planned. And there's nothing wrong with, like, you know, being overly planned. It's, I think, again, you know, personal style. And personal style, as a math equation, is your cat. Do you need a cough?
You congestion?
A cough drop or something? Do we have any? Do you need?
Yes, I'm
drink some water?
take a shower in a minute.
You want to drink some water?
In a minute, I will get up and take care of my throat. Rip it out of my head.
All right. So, anyway, forgot where I was going with this. But let's start a new topic here. On movie sets, they like it to be very quiet. Share a story that I've learned about Robert Downey Jr. I thought it was incredibly fascinating. So I got to work and meet Robert Downey Jr. one time, and it was a group of us. You know, it was like a group panel type thing. And one guy was like asking Robert Downey Jr., hey man, like, what do you like to talk about? What do you want to talk about? Because he's trying to engage him in conversation with us. You know, it's like someone so successful, famous, talented, and then, you know, what do you say to them? So, you know, I think that's where that guy was coming from. And it was really interesting because Robert Downey Jr. said, You know what? Talk to me about my movies. I love talking about my movies. Just talk to me about my movies. I love talking about my movies. And you know what? That shouldn't be a shock to anybody. But it was mildly surprising to myself because, you know, when I think of business people, people that are incredibly high up in their field, I used to think, you know, I used to hear, oh, you know, you shouldn't talk about business when you're outside of work, or I don't like to talk about work when I'm not working, you know? And I think that's like the typical person who doesn't really like their job or isn't really following their like passion or their dream or like, or whatever. Or maybe they just have a job where things have to be kept quiet and they really can't talk about their work. I don't know. Like I know people in high profile positions where if they were to reveal something, it could be totally considered like, you know, insider trading or whatever. So that said, you know, it depends. But with Robert Downey Jr., you know, he was very clear that he loves talking about his movies. And then it kind of clicked with me. It clicked with me, this idea of why he's probably as talented as he is. Why he's so successful in what he does is it's this idea of like just being obsessed. And I don't know how obsessed he is with his movies or his work or whatever, but you know, you might guess he's probably got about 20 movies that are in production or waiting to be produced. You got to be pretty busy. You got to be absolutely obsessed with the work that you do, constantly engaging in it, talking about it. Even if you're at a party, you know, like, what are you working on? And again, I don't know what he's like in his day-to-day life or how he's at, or whether he like talks about movies at home with his kids or whatever, or his family, if he's always talking about movies. I don't know. But at least in this one experience meeting him, it seemed like, you know, that this idea of being obsessed or being average was totally true. That to meet someone so successful, to have a conversation with someone so successful, what they do that is like so talented, they must be obsessed. And yeah, that's my experience with Robert Downey Jr. I just had the opportunity to meet, very lucky, fortunate opportunity to meet him. And so that was great. Let me see, this needs to go up a little bit. So we're gonna paint this up a little bit and then yeah, so I got to meet Robert Downey Jr. and it was in that moment that I was like, you know, it makes sense that someone so successful would be obsessed with their work, would want to talk about their work. Although we were in a workplace, so of course it would make sense that he'd want to talk about work. But, you know, at the same time, I do think that it's something that it is something that that you would want to talk about a lot, even outside. I don't know. I mean, I guess when you're that high up, when are you not talking about work, right? Like, even if you're at a gathering, you're probably at a gathering with people who either want to make movies with you, or be in your movie, or, you know, just be in your presence because you make movies. Like when you're in that type of setting, like and you're constantly working 13, 16-hour days or less, even less, more, whatever, right? And then you're moving from set to set, things like that. You know, what else do you really have to talk about except for the thing that you're most passionate about, that drives your entire life? And yeah, so I really just found that incredibly fascinating. I know it probably shouldn't be a surprise, but it's like I grew up meeting business people that were like, don't talk about work outside of work. It's so boring. But maybe, you know, like those people that they just don't have jobs that they enjoy talking about. So I don't know. but again, this was a professional setting, so again, I think Robert Downey Jr. could have been totally different in this setting compared to, you know, if you were to ask him, hey man, like what's going on in your life, which would probably be movies. But yeah, so really interesting experience. So if you ever wonder why people at the top of their game are at the top of their game, I feel like it's pretty obvious because they are obsessed with what they want to achieve, what they want to do. They are totally and fully engaged in it, and every day in every way. But that's just my guess. So, yeah, I don't know. I analyzed his like entire success based on one thing that he said to us, but you know, I think it makes sense. And you know, here's another example. I was listening to this book by Quentin Tarantino. It's called actually I can't remember the name of it, but it's something about film. Quentin Tarantino has this book about film, and you got to wonder like, what makes Quentin Tarantino great? Is it just his vision? Yeah, and you know, he's got a great vision. He's got great story ideas. He's incredibly creative, but I think the thing that lends to his incredible success, and this is just my guess, is his obsession with cinema. Literally, like, he's obsessed with movies. He's obsessed, like, in a positive way, or maybe it's not positive. Maybe he's like so too obsessed with movies that like that's all, you know, he has no balance. Which that's not a good thing. I mean, that's not a bad thing if that's the life he's chosen, which is great. I mean, he's as successful as he is, he has to get there somehow. But you know, you could tell that just by listening to this book, something about cinema, that you know, you got to wonder like, what makes Quentin Tarantino successful? Is it just because of his creative vision and talent? Yeah, probably his genius. But at the same time, it probably also has to do, his continued success has to do with a level of obsession, a level of just, you know, taking every single movie he watches and breaking it down into, you know, what gets him about it, what interests him about that work. So, yeah. And one thing I find interesting, if you ever go on IMDb, I find IMDb such a cool website because it's like a tracker for successful people in Hollywood. And you can see like, hey, this actor or this producer has this project, this project, this project, and almost any successful actor or producer that is considered successful, any actor, name one big actor that you like, or producer or writer that you like, and they're like modern, like they're a modern currently working actor. Chances are that they have no less than 10 projects in pre-production. So if you're not in entertainment, pre-production basically means that you are either in a writing phase. It's like before you actually get the cameras rolling, all this planning that goes into it. And so that's pre-production. And you'll see that most actors that are working, that are incredibly talented and like, you know, well known and like highly sought after, have at least like a dozen or so projects in pre-production. And some of those movies might never even come through, but they are working hard with all of these projects. I mean, they're at least in conversations, or their representatives are having conversations about these projects or whatever. Somebody is in the business of growing their business with these films and whatnot. And I'm wondering whether I need to have like a outline for these parts or what. I don't think so. But let's add a little bit of a darker color to this, and go with our black here. I'm just gonna go into this area right here with our black really like the. Excuse me. So we're gonna go with the black here. Trying to decide at what point I'm just going to get wacky with this. So here we go. We're going to go with a big brush. Just paint this down here just to give it some separation. But yeah, if any takeaway, if anybody's take away anything from what I've been saying is, I think it's true. This idea, this concept of being obsessed or being average. And again, there's nothing wrong with any route you choose, but if you've ever wanted to get good at something, anything, sports, business, if you've ever wanted to be a better parent or whatever, if you can, I think it's true that if you're obsessed with it, you get really, really good at it. And I almost want to paint this white because it's like so light out right now. So let's see. What are we gonna do with this? Let's go. This black down here. We'll paint over this black later. But some of this reflection is gonna be much darker. Just gonna blend that in, blend this into here. At some point we're gonna move into a different brush, but for now, I just want to get these colors down. Get this color down into this window right here, this window space. And and here we go. And get a little shadow right here. I don't really need the shadow because of the way I'm painting, but and then come into here. Okay, what do we got going on? Let's go into these blinds right here. Slowly building up this living room painting, bit by bit. All right, Omizu, what's going on? Thanks, dude. What's going on? How are you? Working on this living room painting. I was just So, Omizu, I was just talking about the one time I got to meet Robert Downey Jr. and based on a conversation, one sentence that he said, why it's obvious that he's so successful and talented as an actor and producer and whatnot. And I was like talking about some of that experience in my it was more from one sentence deducing an entire reason for his success. But what do you think are some qualities, or have you ever met anyone where you like looked at him, you're like, oh, hey, I know why this person is so successful at what they do, whether it be an athlete or a business person, or maybe it's even like a parent, like you see your friend being a dad or a mom, and then you're just like, wow, it's so obvious why they're so good at that. What are like some qualities that you feel make sense as to why some people are just so good at what they do and they become widely known for it? Day off working. Well, hey, thanks for popping in here on your day off. It's totally exciting to have return viewers, because it's like we can just continue a conversation. You know, I love having new people, of course. It's always great to have new people. So, you know, I want to say that. And I hope that all new people end up returning at some point. I like to think of my YouTube channel not so much as like a painting channel. Of course it is, right? It is what it is. I do artwork. But more so, rather than coming here to be like, hey, let's learn how to paint here or whatever. It's more like a community, right? Just a small, chill community. People, or you know, one day a big community. I don't know, but just a community of people who enjoy the arts, who just enjoys an online community. So, anyways, sometimes it can be hard to find your tribe in real life, and I think the internet is a great place to find a great tribe. So, day off. Just put in the work. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean that is probably the most obvious answer. Like, people who put in the work will succeed. And there's a lot of fancy ways that I try to say it, is being obsessed, constantly having ideas and projects going. Like, all these things contribute to it. And simply put, as Omizu has so directly stated in one sentence or less, is they put in the work. It's obvious. They put in the work to becoming a good parent. They put in the work to becoming a good chef. They put in the work to becoming a great CEO. They put in the work to becoming a great customer service representative. They put in the work. And that is the you're like the hermit living at the edge of a community. So why do you feel like you're at the edge and not at the epicenter? Because maybe you are. Like, I see you as somewhere near the center.
Simba?
But it's also okay if you don't feel that way. If you want to feel like...
Scout just leaped over Simba
Oh my
because
goodness.
he's slow.
That is
Because
ridiculous.
Scout wanted to get to the food bowl before Simba.
Oh, really?
If there's anything in it.
Oh.
Little does he realize I'm holding it.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
Yes.
Cats are so funny.
They are.
Why are cats so
Our
hilarious?
cats are very food motivated. Just like me.
Cats are so funny.
Simba. My phone didn't ring.
That's what I know of. Alright, so let's start painting in some of these
Getting dressed.
elements here. I got some elements in the back that I need to add in. I think I got the base colors pretty much done. Alright, get rid of this big brush. You don't put yourself out there like others do. Right on, man. Oh. What is this? Where'd it come from? Finding all these things on the floor. This is the tube I was looking for that I meant to demonstrate the other day. It's like random bolts on the floor. Oh my gosh, kittens. So let me show you how this twisty tube works. I said that this is like a must-have for a lot of art supplies. So basically, you stick this in one end. Stick it in one end.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it is. Stick it in one end because there's multiple ends. Oops, that's the wrong way. Got to twist it the right way. Otherwise, it won't go. All right, and then you just basically helps you to push all the paint that you have to the top. Now, I have had some issues in the past where like the tube actually squeezed and they made a hole in it. But fortunately, this material is like pretty sturdy. These tubes that humans have invented are pretty sturdy. So, you know, was able to push the majority of the paint, and as it continues to go up, we'll just keep pushing these out. Yeah, this is a great tool. I've seen better ones. So the problem with this one is it's very it rusts very easily. I had one for my shower for my in the bathroom for our toothpastes, and the toothpaste, this whole thing got super rusty, but I think it works great for paint. It doesn't rust with paint, so that's good. Let me find another one of these I might have to clear up. There's white, ochre, there's a yellow. This might be good for our yellow here. Might be a good time because once I put this down, I might lose it again. So for now, this might be good to just do this with a bunch of the tubes before it's too late, before I lose them. So let's get this squeezed down. I think you have to do a little work of pushing the tube up. You know, you have to use a bit of it first. So we got our cad yellow hue. These are big tubes of paint. So just squeeze it starting from the bottom. Sometimes it's hard to know which way you got to go, but I think I'm on a roll here. So, oh, well, that doesn't want to go. If it doesn't want to go, I think that just means that there's still so much paint in here. It's really dense, and I try not to overdo it. I don't want to push it too hard. You know, maybe you just have to squeeze it. There we go. All right, get a little bit of momentum. I have had some of these things pop a hole on me, so you don't want to go too rough. Just want to get just enough so that, you know, the paint's moving along. Here we go. Here's another color, another titanium white that I use. I think the paint, this one could also use a little bit of a tube squeezing. So a little distraction from painting here. You know, just a little bit of a distraction from our painting. There we go. This one's moving. Okay. And how hard you have to squeeze varies a little bit. Oh, I heard some noises here. Okay, that should be enough just to keep the bottom flowing. All right. I have a brown somewhere that probably needs some squeezing. Here we go. So this is a tube that I said had a hole. So when I squeezed too hard down here, there came a hole and it was like squeezing out. So you just got to make sure. But fortunately, you know, it's so tight and the space becomes so closed that, you know, the paint is up further, which means you don't have to worry as much about it. And here we go. So go bring this up. Bring this up. Oh my goodness, there's a hole right here too. How is this getting so many holes? Ah, all right. Well, there we go. All right. Yeah. I might have to invest in a better one than these. These are really cheap ones. You get them for like $7. I think like $10 or something. Or it's like really cheap. But I feel like there's another one that you lay it down and there's like a machine that you just slowly roll it over them. But it also could still be too dense for me to do this really. So I'll keep this for a while. But let's move on to a smaller brush. So I got this brush. I was working with this brush.
Go potty.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go paint a super light blue. I'm gonna go paint a super light blue into the windows. We're gonna change this from a night scene to a day scene. How exciting is that? So I'm just gonna paint over this with a nice blue here, and I'm gonna paint this down. Fortunately, the black has already dried, so the black's not gonna interfere. So I used black because it was originally night out when I started this, and since it has changed, I'm gonna make this a day scene. I'm changing it up. It's okay to change things when you decide that it is necessary to do so. And here we go. So we got some white lights around here in like a rectangle. It's interesting. It's like a rectangle. So we're not necessarily painting the whole thing white. It's just like these little sections, this little section of white onto here. And then I'll update that later, but this is just a base section. And you know what? I can actually add these onto some of the couches. Onto some of the couch cushions. So just to add a little bit of highlight to give it some extra texture, but not necessarily doing it to be exact, but more so to capture color, capture the variety of color that's being seen, which is like various shades of, very light shades of blue, almost white. And then once in here, we're gonna just go round this out a little bit, round it out. I'm gonna get a bigger, smaller brush here in a few moments. But actually, we can even blend this into here. And a little bit of white into here. I'm seeing some on the wall space here. So highlight some areas that around the window just a little bit more than others. And here we go.
That's the only exercise you get, Simba.
There you go.
Is it that one? Is that it?
Okay. It's suddenly getting brighter and brighter in this room.
Yes, the sun is coming out.
It's getting brighter and brighter.
Sun is coming out.
So adding it in more and more color and light variety into this room here. You could call this just, building up layers of color to add.
Ooh, Simba, he fell out of the box.
Well, he's a
You okay, baby?
chunky kitty.
I know. Well, I'm trying to put his weight down on his bad leg. Fell over.
Well,
Sorry, Simba.
poor guy.
I'm gonna get you across the
Poor kitty. Ah, here we go. This will be a good spot to add this color to. Let's get right here. Well, if you get a prosthetic, doesn't he have to have his arm amputated?
No.
No?
They would
Really?
mold it to fit.
Really?
Yeah, it's really expensive though. You need to be more active to make it worth it.
Well, you never know. Maybe if he gets it, he's more active. I don't think that would happen, but
Last time I checked, it was $1,200.
$1,200. Simba, do you want a prosthetic? Well, he didn't answer, so he must not want it. Just kidding.
Maybe if you were
So Simba, her cat, Kathleen's cat, was rescued off the street of a highway. He was sitting, crouched, terrified in the middle of a highway.
It's true.
And she stopped her car, turned it around, and picked his butt up off the ground.
But not until a tractor trailer truck was coming right at him, and I had to wave my arms and shout.
She had to stop a tractor trailer truck in order to rescue this guy.
Well, it went around him. It went up on the grassy shoulder to avoid him.
So she is his hero.
Yes, it saved his life.
And yet he always bites and scratches her.
Yes. Oh, and Bonnie's cat bit Melissa.
Oh, recently?
Yeah, 2 days ago, and she went to feed him and give him his meds.
She okay?
No, she had to go to the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, cat bites are really bad. I mean, if it starts to swell up and get red, it's infected. When Bogart bit me, the same thing happened.
Right.
Hasn't happened with Simba. 'Cause I guess he doesn't go out and do grass and stuff.
Oh, right, yeah, he's an indoor cat.
Yeah.
Definitely if they're outdoor cats, it could be
God, we
an
don't know.
issue. Alright, so much stuff going on. I've been meaning to get rid of these clothes that are over here. They don't need to be here. Clothes right there.
Are there more clothes? Oh. I think it's good.
Alright, let's see how this is going. There's a. Alright. It's the living room. Let's see what else. We'll keep going. Let's add a little bit of this color onto the couch here. Couch cushion. I think in a few moments, once we get into the bigger picture here, we'll start to free ourselves up a little bit and just have some more fun. Let's clean off this brush right now. Alright, we're gonna go with a smaller brush here. We're gonna outline some stuff. Let's do some outlining. Alright, what brush are we gonna use for outlining? What happened to this one? Oh my gosh. Come on now. Just got this brush. It's already jacked up? Really? How did this brush happen like this? Ah, that's better. So here's a brush that's fairly new, and somehow it's gotten could have swore I cleaned it, but I guess I didn't clean it well enough. So I'm gonna pull out my master brush cleaner, the Master's brush cleaner. I'm gonna do some cleaning, some brush cleaning. And here we go. So all I do, take this, I have this bottle of water next to me. This is called the Master Brush Cleaner, or the Master's Brush Cleaner by B&J, specially prepared. Basically, I think it's a fancy type of soap. It doesn't say the ingredients because you're not supposed to eat it, of course. So yeah, they don't have to, I guess if you're not eating it, they don't have to tell you what it's for. But it says no need for thinners or solvents. Water makes it work. It's water soluble. Painters. It shows you instructions. Super easy. Rinse the brush. Dip it in this thing. Rinse the brush again. Rinse it again, and you're good to go. Now, sometimes, you know, the paint, I think with oil paint, you might have to do it more than once, but look at this. The paint comes right off. Obviously, there was a lot of paint stuck in it. And, you know, you also have to be careful with this because depending on your brush, if you're using a brush that's like very delicate with more delicate hairs, you might have to be more gentle. But with like hog hair brushes, this is great for hog hair brushes because you just go buck wild with the hog hair brushes. Just take the hog hair brushes and totally just like dip them in here and like swish it around really, really hard or like really crazy. But I think with these brushes, this is I don't know what kind of material. This is a ivory. So this is a Rosemary Co. It's called ivory. I think it's badger hair, which means the hairs are much finer, much softer, much more delicate. They're designed for oil paint, but you know, they're not designed for mineral spirits or paint thinners or soap, right? You really have to spend more effort to keep these working well. And sometimes that should mean you have to clean after every single use, which I don't always do. So I'm going through multiple phases of this because I can see that the paint's coming off, but the brush still hasn't returned to its regular quality yet. But we will soon. In just a few moments, we'll have the brush back to normal again, which is great. I mean, this cleaner is so handy. You can see all the paint that's come off of it into here. And I think as long as your brush isn't totally ruined, like, you know, you just left a ton of paint on it for like 3 years, exaggerating, but you know, even like a month, you go a month without painting, you just leave your old paint on it, it could be bad. But I pretty much clean my paintbrush after every use, but occasionally, like, I forget, you know, things happen, I forget. Like pretty much after every single use of a color, I go behind my canvas and I paint in the, I use mineral spirits to get the paint off. But sometimes the paint doesn't always come out. That's the tricky part. Sometimes the paint doesn't always come out, so you gotta figure out ways to make it work. And let's see. So even when I squeeze it, I see a lot of the paint still getting stuck in it. And here we go. Really kind, Cat. Oh yeah, Cat is really kind. That's right. Yeah. Yes. Someone said you were really kind to be a kitten rescuer. All right, so let's go. Let's go make a. How should we do this? We're gonna go with brown. Anda Ismajili. What's the color's name? Which color are you talking about, Anda? What's the color's name? What color are you talking about specifically? Because I don't remember. What color was I talking about? I don't really remember what color I was talking about.
Alexa, what's the temperature?
Are you talking about the
outside?
cleaner? Like, what's the cleaner's name?
Right now, it's 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high of 71 degrees.
Color's name. What's the color's name? If I knew which color you're talking about. What's my colors? Oh, my paint? The brand? So this brand is Winsor Newton. I have a couple other brands. I use a bunch of brands.
All right, I'm going to the quarters.
All right, later. I use a bunch of brands. So this is the Van Hoch brand. This is a Lucas 1862 brand. This is special edition. Got a couple other ones. I use Gamblin in 1980. Gamblin, and then there's some. I use this. I use this Utrecht brand, which is, I think, made in the USA. Yep, made in Brooklyn. Why don't you close the door?
I'm going to.
And then I also have this other brand. I actually like this one a lot. It's because it's very you could feel the texture. It's very creamy. But this is Georgian. So I would say probably like 6 brands I use. 6 different ones. And it all depends. I mean, it depends on like where I'm at. Like I might use a different brand for like, you know, just laying down a ton of paint. Yeah, hey, that's cool. Well, it's nice of you to ask for it. It's nice of you to ask about what we're doing here. So you know what? I've like got this brush and I'm just thinking, how do we want to go about this? So I got this red and I want to mix some green or some blue and find like a dark red is my goal. I want to find like a dark purple, reddish purple for our brick color. Maybe grab into this. Yes. And let's get our bricks here. We're gonna go brick by brick. Brick by brick. I'm going to go across. And grab more of this color. And we're going to go across again. And here we go. Yeah. Alright, I gotta go open the garage. Be right back, people. Scott, stay. Chuck, stay. Okay. All right, we're back. Yeah. Do I sell my paintings? I like to hear cat stories while learning to paint. Draw and paint. You think that the paint really good? Do I sell paintings? Yeah. So you can find my paintings on Peggy.com. I don't know if it's Peggy.com or Peggy.art. But I also have prints available. They're all links in the description of this video. You can find them in those links, Peggy and whatever. Prints on Redbubble. I don't necessarily have every painting on Redbubble though. So we're just gonna go with this brick here. Another brick here. You know, I don't have too many like cat stories. I mean, besides the fact that Kathleen rescued a lot of cats. You know, cats are just cute. Cats are amazing. They're just so lovable. Who does not like cats? I don't know. Cats are amazing. Now, I think what happens is that there's a lot of cats with trauma. In the sense that like maybe they were like found on the street. So, you know, they struggled. Because there's so many stray cats. Even compared to stray dogs, I think, you know, cats outnumber them. And I think that makes for a lot of cats that were rescued off the street. And cats that were rescued off the street, I think, have a lot of baggage that come with them. Or even or especially from a shelter, right? Cats that come from shelters have a lot of baggage that comes with them. And with that baggage comes people who have these experiences with cats that aren't the most positive. Like even as a kid, I was scratched. I usually got scratched by cats. I didn't have the best experience with cats. But, you know what? My girlfriend has 2 cats. And we have 4 running around right now because we're fostering them. And they're awesome. They are amazing. But the older cats with trauma are, you know, much less friendly, much less sociable. But they're great. I mean, you know. But I can see why if anyone was to just kind of hang out with them for a little bit, they'd be like, oh, the cats aren't friendly. They don't like to hang out. They're not like a big goofy dog that likes everybody. So that's one thing about cats. But I think as a cat owner, when you're a cat owner, it's like, you know, cats are pretty cool. They have a very unique personality. Very warm. And they all stay pretty small. So like, you know, unless you get a small dog that's basically a cat, like a Chihuahua, which I think some people say Chihuahuas aren't dogs, they're basically cats. Unless you get like a small dog. It's nice to have a cat that can just chill on your shoulder. Or I mean, chill on your chest while you're, you know, lying around or whatever. So, here we go. Using the smaller brush to capture these brick details. And, you know, I can see this painting right now. It's fairly blown out. I've used a lot of white. So, you know, we'll probably adjust that in a bit. But for now, what I want to do is sketch in this other painting here that I made. Painting within a painting. How meta is that? Then we're going to do a color. Do a back color here. I'm going to paint the back color. Paint this back color in. once we get this back color. Later on, we could paint over it. So I think when it comes to oil paint, the best way to paint, like if you want just like a very straightforward, nice, tight picture, is if you like have a little, know exactly like where you're gonna lay down a color and you just gently put it on. But another way to paint is to let the paint dry and then you can pretty much just paint over it. So it's a couple different ways, but let's see. All right. How do we want to do this? Got this brick. Got the brick good to go. Well, thanks for listening to cat stories, Diane. It's great to be able to share some amazing cat stories with you. The wonder of cats. Cats are wonderful. They are very good. I love cats. So here we go. Adding a shadow to create some dimension on this right here. Just a little bit more dimension. And then another shadow on this side. And then another shadow right around here. I'm gonna go down right here. And let's see where we can take this. All right. Let me add some more outlines. This needs more outlines, is what I'm thinking. So we're going to take a smaller brush. I spent all that time cleaning this brush just to do a couple things. We're going to take a smaller brush. Just create some outlines. Sketch out some outlines. The tricky part with this part is really just using the right kind of brush, because I don't necessarily want to get rid of the paint that's already there. I don't want to scratch it away, is what I mean, but I do want to lay down a dark outline here. By the way, people, if you're just tuning in, I might be taking a break here in a few moments. Do a couple outlines and then take a nice breather. Let's see, what's a good brush for this activity? This would be a good brush, but it's too dilapidated now. Alright, let's put all our small brushes right here. And okay. So we got this brush. I think this will be a good one. Throw some oil on there. Let's see, let's grab this black and I'm gonna lighten it up with some red. Just gonna darken this red basically is our goal. in the red. Let's see, how do we want to sketch these? So, go across. Let's establish an outline for this. So we're gonna get an outline here. Basically go straight down. Bring this up right there. And adding these outlines. So let's see. Grab this, grab some Willis color. Establish an outline. Let's outline this right here. This piece. And by the way, traditionally, I mean, I guess, you know, I use the word traditional loosely, but you know, you wouldn't necessarily use outlines for like for certain types of oil paint for most painting style. It's very specific using outlines. It's a very specific way. So you know, you wouldn't do outlines with a portraiture unless like you really wanted to, unless that's just the way you do it. But you know, as you could tell, outline creates a very specific effect. You get an effect here. Helps to create boundaries with the different things, the elements of your painting. So I have this right here. I'm gonna go like this right across here. I'm gonna go down, and there's a thing right here. It's actually a wood carving of the continent of Africa that from Kathleen, who went on a trip there. So it's from a visit to Africa. Now she actually visited South Africa, which is, you know, its own country, but she picked it up from Africa. So doing this outline, it creates, you know, different details. It's a totally different feeling when you create the outline, right? It like really establishes certain area that, you know, can get lost and hazy if you're, depending on, you know, how you decide to do your work. A lot of details can get lost very easily. If you paint without doing a really tight pre-sketch, to prevent separation of areas. Yeah, because if you sketch out a lot ahead of time, what you can do is you could say, hey, these colors are going to be two very specific and distinct colors that are separate from each other. But if you don't sketch out as much ahead of time, you're going to have a, and you're going for like these more expressive styles, more loose styles, we call them. What's going to happen is you're going to have less of a separation unless you place your colors down very specifically. But with the loose styles, like Impressionism, right? Impressionism is a very loose style, but it doesn't have any outlines. At least not the Impressionism as we know it, but like, you know, post-impressionists and different artists within Impressionism would use outlines. And, you know, it all depends on where you're going for. But at the end of the day, you have to decide that. And at the end of the day, I use that term a lot. At the end of the day, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's 5 windows. 5 window sections. At the end of the day. Yeah, you have to decide on how you want to do it. If you're going for Impressionist, you know, it would be a lot less clear as to what everything is that you're painting. But if you're going for a very clean style like Vermeer, which I don't go, because so Vermeer, and I'm not saying this in any judgmental way, it's just totally just neutral, is Vermeer used a hologram projector. His version of a hologram projector or projector was a device that they said that he used in order to create the incredibly tight paintings that he did. So he would basically look through a projector as he sketched an image onto his canvas. And a lot of great artists today use projectors. It's like just part of it. It's part of the craft. It's part of the work. It is a modern tool that helps artists get what they need to create incredibly tight and beautiful paintings, because it allows them to get a very tight sketch and drawing without getting lost in the sketch, which means, you know, they get the chance to really just focus on the painting as opposed to all the time done drawing, which either way, you know, you got to find your own style. But it's definitely one of those things where you got to decide what it is that you want, how you want to do things creatively. Yes, it's no secret that Vermeer and a lot of modern artists use a projector in order to get the sketch down so that they can create the best painting possible, focusing on the painted details rather than the drawn details. So they might, like, you know, Vermeer, if he had a picture, he would take the view of the people in front of them, and then he would project it onto the canvas, and then he would sketch them out there and then do the painting. So that's just like a old technique that has been adapted in modern times, because today they have much better technology as far as holograms and projectors go. It's a great artist, Mark Rockfort, Mike Rockfort, or something like that. So Rockfort, he's basically like the spiritual successor to Norman Rockwell, I would say. And he does some amazing artwork that's modern spiritual successor to Rockfort, or Norman Rockwell, I should say. And he makes this amazing artwork that he did a recent video this one time the other day that shows this process. And you know, very much like Vermeer, the girl with the pearl earring, he also uses a projector in order to sketch out his artwork on a canvas. So he's already got the sketch. He painstakingly, you know, takes these photos, does the sketches, and then he projects it onto the canvas so that he could sketch out the canvas, and then he prepares it, and then he paints over. And he knows exactly where and what color he's going to put down. Absolutely amazing artist, and that's how he creates such tight paintings. And by tight, I mean just like absolutely. He doesn't need outlines. He doesn't need all that, because he knows exactly what he's going to do. He's a master of the craft of painting in his style. And yeah, so great artist to follow, great artist to check out if you really want to learn that style. But at the end of the day, you also want to figure out what it is that makes your voice unique, that makes your voice unique. And you know, I think for him specifically, I mean, you know, I'm just talking about art careers now, just thinking about Rockfort, man. Like he sets up his own photo shoots like a movie studio, and then he just does these brilliant paintings. And you know, I think it's a story that he tells that makes his mark so remarkable. It's like his paintings just have these wonderful stories, just like Norman Rockwell, you know. So Mike Rockfort, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, with him comes story. And then, you know, there's artists that focus on the expression of an idea or colors, or some artists focus on colors, some focus on abstracts, some focus on, you know, whatever. But really interesting to see really great artists' processes. Don't get lost in the sauce. Right. Don't get lost in the sauce. But the sauce can get so easy to get lost in because sauce is just so good. A good sauce can make a great meal. So that Loco Moco, we got some gravy. I still haven't made it with the recipe. I told my girlfriend about it. I told Kat, and she just went out and just bought some gravy. So I will make an effort at some point to do handmade gravy from scratch. Just have not gotten to it lately. But Loco Moco is like my new favorite breakfast. I know as far as American breakfasts go, Loco Moco is not really like a breakfast dish, but you know, it's just so easy. You take a couple hamburger steaks and then maybe some Spam and gravy and an egg, and you got a meal. And if anyone is wondering the question, why did I decide to do this sketch like this afterwards, after I've already painted so much of this, it's because it's just the way I did it. I don't really have a specific reason. I just feel like now is the right time to do it. So that's why. And if I really want to break it down, you know, one thing that I find interesting when I watch tutorials online, like particularly digital art tutorials, the way they're done, the way that they're created is an artist will like do an entire painting digitally, right? So let's say it's like a 2-hour digital painting. But artists typically, I mean, you know, professional teachers typically never, rarely, especially for these digital art classes, talk while they're doing the painting. So while they're doing this digital painting, they'll really talk because obviously, if you watch my streams long enough, it's like, what tangent am I going off of? What am I talking about? You lose track when you're trying to paint and do things at the same time. So what you'll find is that the reason why they're so eloquent is because they can do the recording and then they do a voiceover over the entire thing and they explain their process. And that's incredibly helpful. But where I find that to be weak as far as a learning experience goes is, you know, they tell you the technical stuff like, oh, right now I'm, you know, adding this color on top of this color to, you know, get to mix the color properly or something, whatever. But I don't really think that truly gets into the mindset of what they were going for always. Sometimes it does, but I think sometimes because the artist has already done a certain activity, you know, the thoughts that happen during a painting are going to be totally different than the thoughts that happen when they're doing the live recording, because it's not, you know, like stream of consciousness to an experience. It's more about being very specific, being very accurate about what you're saying, and helping people understand your process. But I think it misses out on a lot of the potential spontaneity depending on the artist. Just some opinion, my 10 cents on, you know, when you learn from a video where the artist isn't talking specifically while he's teaching. You know, Bob Ross was obviously a genius at this. I'm pretty sure Bob Ross also had like someone in his ear, like a why, you know, he always paints from the same side. You can't see the other side of his face, I think. I could be wrong, but I feel like he always painted from one angle, which I'm pretty sure he had a headphone in the other ear. So, you know, people could feed him lines. I'm not saying he did this. I don't know for sure. But in my view, the only way you could possibly multitask and say brilliant, motivational, inspiring phrases while also teaching a painting lesson, while also being charismatic and interesting and kind, like Bob Ross. The only way that Bob Ross is possible is with some help from someone telling you what to say. I could be wrong. Maybe it just came with decades of practice. I mean, obviously his paintings came with a lot of practice, but I think more importantly, what makes Bob Ross is his ability, you know, this live element that made you feel like you were just, he was just talking to you, like live with like just you, and just seemed like he had this aura, this way with words. And although I'd like to believe it too, I don't know if it's necessarily possible. I'd love to meet somebody who can talk like Bob Ross, but on a live teaching painting. I don't know. I'd like to learn from them. There's all kinds of gravy you could do. Do what works for you, yes. But yeah. Oh yeah. So back to Mark Rockford. We were talking about Mark Rockford, or Rockfort. I'm gonna look up his name up again. But Mark Rockford, you know, he does these incredibly tight paintings, and I think, as opposed to going for painting as like expression, I think he does painting as a form of storytelling. And I think there could be a total difference in mentality, where You know, it's like the difference between Norman Rockwell and Jackson Pollock, right? Very obvious differences and activities and actions and ways of painting. So I need this to, oh yeah, I need to sketch this area right here. All kinds of gravy. Gravy is gravy, yeah. Gravy is great. I love gravy. Gravy's, get good gravy, it just makes a meal. Alexa, who invented gravy?
There is no single inventor of gravy, which has deep roots in human history. The process of thickening liquid with a roux, or a mixture of flour and fat, is an ancient one. Gravy can be made by deglazing a pan with wine and adding it to broth, and it has been used as a sauce for centuries. It is a versatile sauce that can be used with many different types of food.
Alexa, thank you.
You're so welcome. Your kindness really gives me a charge.
Oh.
Happy Monday.
Okay, Alexa, that's enough. It's getting too real, Alexa. Too real. Alright, so when Alexa gets too real, that would be a funny YouTube sketch. I mean, there's probably so many movies already done about it, like, you know, sci-fi character AI, you know, gets too real. Definitely plenty of sci-fi ideas about it. You know, the thing about these outlines is it gives me an opportunity to have something to paint over. So with these outlines, I'm not necessarily going to leave them the way they are, but they give me a direction. They give me an edge from which to paint to. Because this is a larger painting, because this is a larger painting, I'm trying to come in. This is a larger painting. I'm doing a sketch later.
Get back, monsters. The monster cats. I brought lunch.
Oh wow, thank you, babe. You brought lunch.
Yeah. Come to kittens, I think it's for them. Anything that involves food.
Yes, anything that involves food.
Oh, I got the quarters.
Okay, great. I'll start the laundry right now before I even eat. But I need to take a break right now, so. All right, everybody. Well, we're gonna take a little break here.
Don't try to fit all that in.
Huh?
Please don't try to fit all of
Oh,
that in.
no. I'm probably just gonna take a nice chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna take a nice chunk of that.
I could picture it exploding with all that in. Might as well eat it while it's hot. I am going to go to the ER. I have to have food before I go to the ER. Oh, I can't sit there all day. Hey! I guess Scout moved your shirt over here.
You did?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Oh no. You know how they are. They're just crazy little things.
Case. And a hat. Alright, so let's see. Can I put this in here? I feel like I'll just lay this down right here. I'm just gonna lay that down. We're gonna lay down the rest of this paint.
Lay on the wall.
Lay down the paint. We're gonna put the rest of it onto this other canvas. And at some point, it's all start to come together. It's all starting to come together now, but you know, bit by bit, it gets better and better. And here we go. slow process, but it's going. Slow but steady. Slow and steady wins the race. Not always, but a lot of times for things in life. Actually, no, I think slow and steady doesn't win the race. It just helps you finish. I don't think it's true that it wins the race.
No,
Because
it doesn't.
as someone who's finished a complete marathon, 26.2 miles, 42 kilometers, slow and steady does not win the race. But you can beat
No,
fast
Cookie, that's
and
not yours.
not steady who burn out,
Nachos.
but that usually doesn't happen because what they'll do is they'll just slow down.
You want Cookie? No. Vultures.
Slow and steady gets you to the finish line. It might not even get you a medal, but at least you get to say you finished. So here we go. We're wrapped up for now. Gonna cover some of my materials, and then we'll be back in a little bit, maybe later in the afternoon. But Omizu, I see you, and everybody else. Thanks for popping in. But we're gonna take a pause on this for now, and do some laundry, get some food on our day off here, and have a great day, everybody. Or have a great afternoon. We'll be back soon.